It's Jessica and I'm back with part 2 of Walk the Talk. Last time we were talking about don't be deceived, okay? The enemy is out there. He's trying to distract us. He's trying to get us to get our focus off of God, okay? Don't get distracted. Well, how do we do that? Number 1, okay? Be on guard. We have to stand guard and we have to be vigilant. We can't get distracted by the things around us, okay? Think about the Buckingham Palace guards. They stand there and they are so rigid and they are so trained, so well trained that they don't crack a smile, they don't laugh, and no matter what, they are there to do a job and they won't let anybody stand in their way. They even are trained to faint in a certain way. Like if they're going to pass out, they have to pass out in a certain way. So number 1, we have to be on guard. Just like the guards at Buckingham Palace, they have a job to do, so do we. So join me in 1 Peter 5-8, okay? Let's get my Bible out. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion. He's looking for someone to devour. So resist him and stand firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. Peter is encouraging us, don't get distracted. There are others around the world who are standing in faith with us, and so we don't need to feel like we're being persecuted alone. Don't get distracted. Do the job that God's given you. Okay, you guys ready for number 2? We're going to change locations for number 2. You ready? And okay, the second thing that we can do is we can pray. I know that seems super simple, but prayer is such an important piece to not getting distracted. Okay, in Mark 14, Jesus was hanging out with the disciples. They had just gone through the Passover feast and they headed to the Garden of Gethsemane, and Jesus instructed the disciples to pray. He knew that he was going to be taken away and that he was going to be crucified. Yet he told the disciples to pray, not necessarily for his benefit, but for their own, because he knew that they would face trials and that they might fall into fear, into worry, into selfishness, because now the man that they had been following for 3 years was gone. He knew that they needed to be so deeply rooted in prayer that then they wouldn't stray away, that they wouldn't fall away when tough times came. That's how important prayer is. Now, they didn't necessarily succeed in it, but that gives us such a good example that we have to be rooted in prayer. Okay, so number 2, we got to be rooted in prayer. And you probably guessed what the third thing is yes, we have to stay in the Word. We have to be rooted in prayer and we have to stay in the Word. You're right. Number 3, stay in the Word. I know it may seem super simple, but if you think about how much time we spend doing other things, research tells us on average, teenagers nowadays are spending over 7 hours on some sort of entertainment, media, technology of some sort, whether it's Snap, messaging. 7 hours worth of media time. And that's 7 hours that we're just being filled up with things that aren't of God necessarily. And so what would our lives be like? What would your life be like if you spent those 7 hours that you spend on your phone in the Word? I mean it, guys. If you spent 15 to 20 minutes a day just in the Word and thinking about it, meditating on what God says about you, your lives would be so different. You would have a completely new outlook on a lot of situations that you face. In Psalm 119, 9-11, it says, "How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By seeking and living according to your word." And it says in verse 10 that I seek you with all my heart, and do not let me stray from your commands. For I've hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. Okay? The person who wrote this psalm is encouraging us that if we hide his word, if we store it up in our heart and we meditate, we think on it, that he is going to bless us. And God promises us time and time again that we can trust him with our lives and that he has such amazing and good things for us. But we don't know about it if we don't read the word and if we don't apply it to our lives. So number 3, read the word. You can do it. Okay, the 4th way that we can walk the talk is by standing firm. I want you guys to think about how different our world would be if Rosa Parks had given up her spot on the bus. It was during a time when desegregation was happening in 1955, and she stood firm in the fact that she deserved to sit on that spot in the bus. She did not get up, and she was arrested for it. But her defiance became a national symbol for the civil rights movement. And even though she was arrested, she didn't budge in what she knew was right. She knew that there should be fairness and equality for all people. And she was firm in that. Pretty tough stuff right there. Yeah, so we need to stand firm. As Christians, we can do that. When we pray and we apply the word, guys, we can do that. We can have the boldness through Christ to stand up and make a difference. In 1 Corinthians 16:13, Paul writes to us and he says, be on guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous. Be strong. Paul is encouraging us that we need to stand firm, that we have to be on guard, and we can be courageous and we can be strong, but we need to be rooted in prayer and we need to study our word. We got to meditate on it, guys. You guys can do it. I know you can. And as you do it, God promises that he's going to give you strength. He's going to help you through every single situation. Love you guys. Miss you. And we'll be back with some more content later. Bye.